Hey everybody, Mags here. We are going to review some of the hints and tips that we've been given this year on the Dynasty Hot Seat. If you are new here, do me a favor, can you like, comment, share on this video for me, please, like you can see here. And then also, if you're new here, why not hit that subscribe button too? It really helps out. Right, on to the hints and tips.
Okay, yeah, cool. So I've had to think about some of these, and I tried to come up with some new ones. So the first one I'm going to say is, in the startup dynasty, I think the important thing is to kind of trade down as much as you can in startups. But in the rookie draft, I think the best strategy is actually to trade up. So it's trade down in your startups and trade up in your rookie drafts and get the guy you like in the rookie draft. And the reason for that is you want to kind of have more players in the rounds 3 to 9 area of the startup than your opponents. The value is there. Get as many picks as you can. If you've got more players in that range than your opponents, then you're more likely to be a better dynasty squad. But the aggressiveness in your rookie draft is important because you need to hit on your rookies. It's the biggest value swing that you can have after the dynasty startup. So nice and easy. Trade down in startups, trade up in the rookie drafts.
Yeah, I really like that. I mean, especially the rookie draft one in particular is one that I really aggressively try to go after instead of like going, oh, maybe this guy will fall to me. It's like, just put it beyond any reasonable doubt. Like, just move up, get the guy, and, I like the trading down aspect as well. It's something that, we'll see coming up in part 2 is there is a very clear cliff that happens around, around like 10, right? There is a cliff.
I had about 8 to 9 rounds. 8 to 9, I said there was a cliff. But if you're in that range and you've got more picks than the others, then you're probably in a good shape. And the rookie draft, you need, if you hit on your rookies, that's the biggest way to gain value on your dynasty team. So if you got something you like, especially this year when maybe they're not as strong in rounds 2 or 3, go up and get them, and don't be afraid to do that. So that's a good tip.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Tip number 2. I don't know if anyone's mentioned this yet, but the biggest difference really between dynasty and redraft really is, and for me, was understanding player contracts. So take a look at what contracts the players are on, how many years left. It's the biggest difference really, because otherwise you're playing a redraft league. You need to know how many years that player might be on that team for, or it might be hitting free agency next year. I'll give some examples obviously, but mainly they're going to be running back. So obviously Josh Jacobs, 5th year decline this year. You could easily join an RBBC next year, easily. You could be, or you could be the lead. You just got to understand what the player's contract is. You don't have to do that for redraft. Obviously, it's 1 year bang. But for dynasty, it's not hard really. You would look up so I think Spotrac or some other website will have it, and it's just good to understand what the player's contract is for your dynasty team.
Yeah, and they can have such a huge difference on how much a player is used. Like, for example, like Christian Kirk this year. Christian Kirk's got a massive contract. Yeah. Christian Kirk is going to be used a lot. Like, its contracts can really tell you, like, sort of put the writing in the stars a little bit, of what's going to happen. And Josh Jacobs, there's an interesting one for Josh Jacobs. They haven't picked up a 5th year option. So actually, sneakily, Josh Jacobs might have a massive year because they're not going to care if he gets injured or not.
So there's that aspect as well. Zeke is another one. These teams might just say, right, we're going to use them as much as we can because there's an out. Or Dalvin Cook's gone out in 2003, 2024. So just understanding players' contract is always a good thing for your dynasty team, I think.
Yeah, I really like that. And you're right, it's easy enough just to go up and look up what the contract situation is. So it's good to definitely, keep tabs on. So I love that as a second tip. You got a 3rd tip for us, Antonio?
Yeah. So basically pick a strategy and stick to it. So if you're in a dynasty startup, you can either go for the win now, or you could go for the kind of productive struggle side of things. But either way, just pick. You'll end up finding yourself picking one and then just stick to it. Don't mix them around. Don't be afraid to draft kind of youth early and veterans late, even if you do either option. So we'll have a look at that maybe if I go one way or another later. But if you stick to that kind of rule about youth early, veterans late, it doesn't matter which way you go between struggle or win now. You'll end up shaping your team. And I think on top of that as well, If you feel like you're a contender, maybe after the first couple of rounds, then just QB and RB. That's what you want to hit. You want to hit those RBs. You want to hit the quarterbacks. If you feel like you're going down the productive struggle route, go towards the wide receiver. If you're 50-50, wide receiver, tight end. That's probably, again, these are kind of rules of thumb, but if you kind of abide by those rules a little bit, you're not going to go far wrong, I don't think. Just be honest with your team. Don't pretend you're a contender and then all of a sudden start drafting running backs and quarterbacks. If you're not really going to contend, you're going to be in a world of trouble after a year or so. So
yeah, don't veer suddenly off track in the middle of your draft and go like, oh, actually maybe I can do it. Like, yeah, you're right. You gotta have an idea, and a lot of the times you're not maybe you're not coming in with that super firm idea, but by the end of round 3 you're like, oh no, this is definitely what I need to do, and you need to stick like on that track.
Absolutely. And there's another one, just a link to that. There's another thing I wanted to say, and everyone's talked about kind of best player available on your show, which is great. And it should be best player available, draft for value, trade for need, and all that good stuff. However, if you're in a new league, and it's linked to everyone else that said, know your league mates. If you're in a league that's not very active and you don't know these people as well, you could end up easily having 14 wide receivers and 2 running backs. And you could end up struggling to trade because there's not much activity, or there's and I'm always best player available, always, and I think you should be, but just beware. It's best player available knowing your league is active, because if it's not, you could be stuck with that roster, or people could know you haven't got a running back and charge a lot more. So there's that.
Take a little pinch of caution with best player available. Like it's always great to get them, but I certainly in at least one league where I just can't trade with anybody. It's just nothing happening. I'm like, guys, come on, we gotta keep going. Like, but there's just not much response. It's great. Like I'm picking up people off the waiver wire. I got Tom Brady off the waiver wire. Like because no one's paying attention. But it's slightly annoying. Like I could do the trades.
Yeah, and I think that's it's just knowing, it's combining everything that people have said. Best player available with knowing your league. However, and there's the one last thing I wanted to say. Would really switching over to Dynasty or even redraft, just try and take in as much content as you can on Twitter, because there's so many good people doing good things, and it's only going to help you be a better player, I think. I've learned a lot. I've been playing Dynasty for 7 years now. This is my 7th year. Redraft a lot longer, and the switch over, I didn't really know what I was doing in Dynasty at the beginning, but there was so much stuff out there that's going to help. Always be learning and engage with great minds as well. Just write to people. You'd be amazed how many people want to help. So that's my last.
It is, I completely agree. It is amazing, this like community of people. Like when even this podcast started, I thought, oh, like no one's gonna want to come on here, and like we're rapidly approaching episode 30, and we got people booked in up to close to episode 50. Like it is incredible. And there's still just infinite people out there. Like there's so many more people that I've not invited on or not like got scheduled to come on yet, and it is filled to the brim with people who who really know what they're talking about. And what I really like is they kind of articulate it in different kind of ways. You got your real like passionate people who will just talk and like really give you like passionate advice about players. You got your statistical guys that will back up with the numbers. You got your guys who look at history and like compare them to the past and present. There's so much out there. It's just listen to as much as possible. I completely agree. So absolutely love those 3 tips, Antonio. And thank you so much for watching today's video. Remember, like this video, leave a comment if you want, and subscribe to the channel. These videos are going to be coming thick and fast, so you don't want to miss anything. So that's it for today. In the meantime, keep yourselves, keep your teams lit. We'll see you next time.